Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sadguru Maharaj ki Jnana Vairagya Sampurnan Hari Bhakti Parayanan Purva Acharyanaham Vande Sampradaya Pravartakane Bhagavannama Samrajya Lakshmi Sarvasva Vigraham Srimad Bodhendra Yogindra Desigendra Mupasmage Hare Rameti Krishneti Nama Sankirtanam Sada Lokakshemaya Kurvantam Premikam Sadgurum Bhaje Kalage Sundarakaram Sadaika Priyadarshanam Ajnananashakam Devam Sadgurum Muralidharam Murali Mandita Karakamalam Munijana Mohanam Vyatyasta Padam Vanamala Dharinam Prema Bhakta Mandala Nitya Kirtitam Premika Varadham Ashrayegam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmani Pranata Klesha Nashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha Tannamami Harim Param Buddhir Balam Yasho Dhairyam Nirbhayatvam Arogata Ajatyam Vakpadutvancha Hanumat Smaranat Bhavet Sri Haraye Namaha Shri Haraye Namaha Shri Haraye Namaha Sarvatra Govinda Rama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda Sadguru Maharaj Ki His Holiness Maharanyam Sri Sri Muralidhara Swamiji's grace is with us, and so is the grace of Sri Madhuri Sakhi Sameta Premika Varada Thakurji and Sita Lakshmana Bharata Shatrughna Hanumat Sameta Ramachandra Prabhu's Kripa on us, and hence we are all in a satsangam. We all have spiritual enhancement, progress as one of our important life purposes, if not the purpose of life. And we are also enjoying satsang in the comfort of our own homes. We are seeing a sweet song of our beloved Guru Maharaj, Madhura Geetam, where in 18 verses, our Swamiji explains the various steps towards emancipation, or the 18 steps towards finding victory over samsara. And the first step is something which we do physical. Generally, we say, what do we do? What do we do? Spirituality is not just doing, but without doing, we cannot go to the state of being or be in the state of being. So first doing, what we do is we have faith in our scriptures, in our elders at home. And so we go to the various holy pilgrim spots and we go and purify ourselves, because these are the holy spots purified by the presence of great Mahatmas, right from Mahatmas of Puranic times to historic times, right from all the great Acharya Purushas. So first, Punya Tirthadanam, Kshetradanam, and then serving the nearby temple wherever we get an opportunity, and then realizing that these activities we do should not be done on and off. It has to have stability in it. The first step in advancement in any system, whether psychological system or spiritual system or a mechanical system, is capability can be enhanced only when there is stability. First, we have to stabilize anything before we can enhance its capability. So that's the reason why our Swamiji says, Nilayana Bhakti. Whatever we do, let us do it steadily, constantly, because only in that power of stability we can grow. When we are already unstable, no growth is possible. And so Nilayana Bhaktiyodan Irundiduvai means doing whatever we are doing, even small service in the temple, steadily and taking it as a priority. And then we do service to humankind as service to Bhagavan, and drop the selfishness, embrace selflessness, and look at the welfare of others as one of the important values, and serve them also. If we do all these things, Bhagavan becomes very happy with us. He pushes us slowly into Satsangam. And that Satsangam, our Bhagavan tells Uddhava, Are Uddhava, if you somehow get into the right Satsang, is there anything else you need to do? By the power of Satsang itself, transformation shall happen to you. And Satsanga, and in Satsanga, the most important activity should be talking about things which are all divine. Listening about Bhagavan, listening about Bhagavat Gunam, listening about Bhagavan's Leelas, etc. Once we go there, Bhagavan takes us to the next step. This is how Parikshit also progressed. He was actually fighting a war with Kali, even though he was pretty much spiritual. And he was not selfish, he was selfless. So he fought Kali. And he went around listening to the stories of Bhagavan. Then when his life was only 7 days long, it was clear that 7 days is the period given to him to be in this body. He gets into a satsang, and then he tells all these Rajarishis assembled in the banks of river Ganga, Gayata Vishnu Gata. And once that satsang is attained, Bhagavan immediately sent his guru also. And the guru does the upadesam of Bhagavata, which is just have to be listened to, nothing else need to be done. And hence the next step after satsanga is Uttama Guru comes in search. Just like how Sukamuni came in search of Parikshit, Narada Maharshi came in search of Dhruva. Narada Maharshi went, found Prahallada, and gave the Upadesam to Prahallada even when he was in the womb of his mother, Gayatu. Narada Maharshi went in search of Nalagubara Manigriva. Narada Maharshi went in search of Prachetasas. Narada Maharshi went in search of all the Daksha Putras, etc. That's how Guru will come searching for us. Tedi Varuvar. And then, like all the people in Bhagavatam, all the Sishyas, we submit to the Guru. And our padam panindu means Parikshit did not even want something from the Guru. He says, tell me what I should listen to, what I should do kirtan, what japa I should do, what all activities I should do, what all I should avoid. And he did not say, I want to moksha, I want to attain this, etc. Such was his complete submission to the Guru. And the Guru does the Upadesam. And then, inspired by the Guru, first important vratam for us to purify our body and the mind is Ekadasi Vratam. We saw in detail about that yesterday. And during Ekadasi, we get into a new habit. We get into a real higher satsanga of Hari Katha Shravanam, which we do in the ashram during Tirumanjanam of our Swami. When our Thakurji is bathed, generally they put either a CD of our Swamiji, or some people come and talk, give Pravachan on Bhagavata Ramayana. So first we listen to Hari Katha, and then in the afternoons we all do Nama Kirtan, Bhagavan's Guna Kirtan. In the evening we do Divya Nama Sankirtanam, which is Hari in Gunangalai Padiduvai. And then Hari in Rupatai Kandiduvai. When we go to the temple, that's a good chance for us to actually see the wonderful countenance, the lovely divine face, and the lovely divine form of the Yugala Sarkar when we go to the temple. The reason being, the more we see, less vasanas would remain in our heart. More we imprint that form in our heart, the more would be the purification of the heart. So when we see Bhagavan, see it nicely, see it gracefully, and we are not supposed to, morakka kudadu. See it in a very nice way, so that we imprint the lovely form of Bhagavan in our heart. So, avan uruvai ullathil kondiduvai. The moment we see him with love, and our Swamiji uses an example of a painter. Whenever a painter is painting a natural scenery, he has his canvas right before his eyes, and he would look at the scenery for a few seconds, paint it on the canvas, look at it again, paint it on the canvas, as if transferring the play of colors in the nature to his canvas. Likewise, when you look at Krishna, when you get a chance to have the darshanam, you have the darshan of Bhagavan, and then close your eyes a little bit and see if you can imagine the lovely face of Bhagavan, lovely, the neck of Bhagavan, Vakshasthalam, and then his wonderful arms, etc. That way we are painting the form of Bhagavan in the Sannidhi into our Garbhagraham called our own heart, by slowly transferring what we see and imprinting that in our heart. So that is what is meant by Avan Uruvai Ullathil Kondiduvai. And to this point we saw yesterday. Here our Swamiji uses a very important adjective to Kirtan. The important adjective to Kirtan is Hari in Gunangale.
ரூபத்தை கண்டிடுவாய் நதிகள் நீராடிடுவாய்.
So here he says, Hari in Gunangalai paadiduvaai. The reason for affection or love towards anything or anybody happens because of the character and the gunam of the thing. Generally, we truly love something because that which we repose our love on has these wonderful characteristics, qualities, etc. And that is the reason why we love something. When we see the gunam in something and constantly think about something, we get attached to that thing. When that attachment is something to do with a worldly object or a temporary object, like even another person, we are in a satsang, it is called attachment. But if we start thinking about the guna or the positive qualities, the divine qualities of Mahans or Bhagavan again and again and again, we get attached to them, and this attachment is called Bhakti. Bhagavan becomes very easy, very simple, and we can actually get the grace of Bhagavan very quickly if we can constantly do the Guna Bhajanam. And when we do Guna Bhajanam, obviously what is there in the heart is only actually spoken, isn't it? In our Sahasranama classes, in the Bhashya, whether it is Advaita Bhashya or Sri Vaishnava Bhashya, the importance of Nama Sankirtana is what is there in our heart can only be repeated by our tongue. So at least a portion of our heart, portion of our mind needs to be engaged if we talk something. If we talk something very deliberately and cautiously and carefully and consciously, then 100% of our mind is engaged in that repetition. Even if we absently repeat Hare Rama, etc., still one portion of the mind is engaged. That is the Siddhanta of Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada. So here, once we do the Guna Bhajana of Bhagavan, whether we actually relish it consciously in our heart or not, the Guna Bhajana of the Bhagavan, if we do, a portion of the mind also has the Chintana, or it also remembers the wonderful qualities of Bhagavan, which is the reason why when Bhagavan apparently disappeared during Rasam, even then, our Shukamuni very beautifully said, Tan Manaskaha, Tad Halapaha, tad vicheshtitaha tad gunan eva gayantyaha. They sang only the guna of Bhagavan. They sang the qualities of Bhagavan repeatedly, which pulled Bhagavan to give darshan to all the gopis. So guna bhajana is very important. And we need to do the chintana as we sing. First we enjoy the tune and sing. But then we also start paying attention to the words of the bhajan over time. Initially, the tune is what attracts people. Pavin ilnisai padi tirivene is the first step generally. But then as we keep singing that song and humming that song, slowly the mind has to focus its attention on the nectarine verses and the meanings. And once we do chintana of the guna, we get attached. And that is a trick Bhagavan tells us in Bhagavad Gita also, that more we remember the positive qualities of an entity, the more it is easy for us to naturally get attached to that. And more we think about the negative qualities or defects of anything, more easy it is for us to naturally be repelled or naturally start getting detached from that. The reason why Mahatmas are very harsh on worlds and in the worldliness and the worldly objects, etc., is not because they hate the world and all that. It is for us to start seeing the defects in things which are hurdles in our spiritual progress. You see, once we are already in the lag, what we already signed up 1 month back will start manifesting now, like the virus which is going on right now. For 21 days, we won't even know this. That is what is called karma. We did something, we thought about something, an attachment was made, and the effect of it, we see it now. So now I can't do anything about it. Now I can start working on another lead factor, which helps me after say 21 days or 30 days to correct it. Best lead factor for us to improve our spiritual quotient is constantly listening to katha and repeating the qualities, gunam of Bhagavan, either Rama Gunam or Krishna Gunam or Bhagavata's Gunam, etc. Gunam eva, tad gunan eva gayantya. And such are the people, such are the divinities like Radha Krishna Yugalam or Sita Rama Yugal Sarkar. They have only gunam only. And so remembering their qualities helps us to slowly get attached to them. An attachment to divinity is called bhakti. An attachment to the world is called bondage. Bhakti leads to freedom. Attachment to the world leads us to be even more bound and leads to misery. So he's saying, listen to his Leela Shravanam, Guna Bhajanam, and Rupa Smaranam. And which is what our Shukamuni also is telling Parikshit, Tasmad Bharata Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavyaha Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Ichchata Avayam. Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi. And once we see his lovely form and start slowly painting it in our hearts, then what happens is,
அவனுருவை உள்ளத்தில் கொண்டிடுவாய், அவனுருவை உள்ளத்தில் கொண்டிடுவாய், பணிவை என்றும் கை கொள்வாய், பணிவை என்றும் கை கொள்வாய், புண்ணிய நதிகளில் நீராடிடுவாய்.
The beauty with the first line, though we don't need to repeat the first line, is when we do the Nama Kirtanam, that Kirtanam becomes the Punya Nadi or the Punya Tirtham for us to be purified. So when we say Hari Gin Kadaigalai Ketiduvai, and then Punya Nadi, now Hari Katha becomes our Bhagavati Ganga, Ramayana Ganga. Hari Guna Kirtanam becomes Rama Nama Gangaya, Krishna Nama Yamuna, and Govinda Nama Saraswati for us. So Rama, Krishna, Govinda becomes Triveni for us. So Punya Nadigal Neeraiduduva's definition is every line he is showing. If we are seeing Bhagavan Sri Krishna's Rupam, it is the Divya Tirtham of his lovely form purifying our heart. That's what it is said. That as we listen to Krishna Katha through our course of the years, Pibantiye Bhagavata Atmanasatham Katamritam Shravana Putaihi. If we listen to Bhagavad Katha through the years, Punanti te, it completely purifies like a tirtha. Now the external tirtham of Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati has now become very subtler tirtham, more effective tirtham in form of satsanga, in form of shravanam, in form of kirtanam, in form of smaranam. And then he says slowly, remember his form every now and then, remember him. That's why when we get a chance to come to Namadwar or any temple for that matter, during Divaradhana, earlier days it was very difficult for us to see the form. Only during Divaradhana we can see. But nowadays we are more fortunate. We have all these bulbs, LEDs, etc., which lights up our Swami very well. We can even see it through our
கொள்வாய் துணிவுடன் மாயது திருவாய்
காம Very beautifully, what Mahaprabhu says is what our Guru Maharaj also says. Panivai endrum kai கொள்வாய். We should embrace humility. And the word panivu is trinadapi sunichena. Not to think too much about ourselves, not to think that I have read enough. There are four things which gives us, they are the source of arrogance for all of us. And which is Janma Aishwarya Shrutaha Shribihi Edamana Madaf Pumani Naiva Arhati Datum Vai Twama Kinchana Gocharam. The reason why our Swamiji is saying Panivai Endrum Kaikulvai after getting into a satsang and after doing like Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam is because we may even get over the arrogance or haughtiness or madham of Janma, thinking that I come from a very strong lineage, or I come from a very influential family, etc. We can even get over that I am a very well-read person, etc. That arrogance. Or we can even get over I have tremendous power in the society. I come from a position of power. I can even get over the thought that I'm extremely well-read, etc. and or I'm very wealthy, etc. But one thing is very difficult to get over. When we start looking down upon people who are not that fortunate to get into the satsang yet, when we start looking down upon others and we start saying, why are they not coming to satsang? Why are they leading a life which is very worldly, etc.? That's a very big arrogance in itself. So the fact that we have been fortunate is because of kripa. So either we have to be compassionate or we should try to help people who have not have the fortune of a satsanga or a spiritual awakening. We should never try to look down and become proud and haughty just because we are in a satsang. We'll always go only on the onward journey of spiritual progress. So that's what is meant when our Swamiji says, Panivudan endrum, Panivai endrum kai kolvai. So hold on to humility, which is a big companion. The humility has to be our constant companion all through our spiritual life. Panivai endrum kai kolvai. And then he says, not only is humility, then we also need tunivu. Tunivi means courage and perseverance. Our Upanishads say that spirituality is not the place for timid-hearted. For people who have bhayam, spirituality, progress is not possible. Brahman or Bhagavan is not actually attained by people who are having bhayam. So what does tunivu means? Dhairyam. Dhairyam means in spite of maybe failing once or twice or thrice or falling, because we have a tremendous load of our past vasanas, which keeps interfering with our current state of our mind, etc. So here, mind, I may fail. There is something which is I need to get up, even if I fall 100 times. Falling 100 times is not the problem, but not for Tunive. So with firmness, we need to counter the effects of all this Maya, which tries to sort of pull us down in the journey of our Bhakti. And he says, Kama Krodande Tunivudan Mayai Tunivudan Mayai
Kama krodhangalai vittiduvaai. Kama krodhangalai vittiduvaai.
So here, that is the beauty of again Krodhangalai Vittiduvai Niye has two important implications as a practice and as a consequence or a result. If we constantly fight back, how do we fight back is each time we are afflicted by either lust or anger, we fight back by not giving in to that or not by giving up. We shall continue, we understand, we shall be compassionate to our own self and yet not give up. And what we can do is pray. That's only Mam Ichaptum Dhananjaya, Bhagavan says na. So each time when I'm doing abhyasam, abhyase pyasamartosi mat karma paramo bhava. So if we constantly do abhyasam, then Mam Ichaptum, constantly pray to Bhagavan, pray to Guru Maharaj. That we can do na. That prayer will come only if we have the earlier step ready, which means we need to be humble. Prayer comes from the position of humility only. Prayer does not come from the position of thinking that let me take care of it myself. Why should I ask somebody else to support me? When, like, even physically, when I'm not well, I need a support of a doctor and medicine and some supplements to keep me going, isn't it? So when it comes to spiritual progress, obviously prayer is a sign of humility. That's why it is a penance. And that is the reason why our Swamiji says, Tunivudan Maya edirthidu. How do we actually oppose Maya? We oppose Maya only by constantly praying. We pray and we again reinforce our Shravanam, we reinforce our Kirtanam, we reinforce our Smarana. And when we do like that, over time, patiently when we fight, Kama Krodhangalai Vittiduvai Niye, you yourself will drop Kama and Krodha. But then, till that point of time, Vittiduvai, if we take it as an instruction, do it. What it really means is don't feed things which may result in Kama and Krodha. The simplest way for us to avoid Kama and Krodha as a practice is, if we get distracted, if we look at things which can sort of incite Kama or Krodha, whether it is looking at pictures or talking about stuff or watching stuff, etc., which we know very well, what goes in is what is going to create impact inside. When I take something which is not very healthy as a food, obviously it's going to impact my body. When I actually watch something or see something or talk about something or listen about something which is going to impact my mind, what we see, what we listen, what we talk is food for the mind. Na? So it's going to poison. So Kama Krodhangalai Vittiduvai Niye means, at least as a habit, as a practice, we can avoid the triggers of Kama and Krodha as far possible. Don't feed. When we are afflicted a little bit of kopam, you don't have to feed it. How do we feed anger? Is continuing to judge somebody, continuing to talk about somebody, continuing to internally condemn something or justify our own actions outside. All this actually feeds Krodha. And how do we feed kamam or desires? Is by constant chintana. Our Bhagavan says, first comes kama, then comes Krodha. When we have a need, of course we meet the need. When the desire strikes us, if we constantly think about positives of something which is going to be injurious to us, it's going to only enhance desire. When there is a perceived obstacle to desire, we become angry. So that's how Kama and Krodha comes as per Bhagavad Gita. So Kama Krodhangalai Vittiduvai Niye means we, as responsible human beings, need to take a self-imposed pledge that I shall isolate myself from things which trigger Kama and Krodha, so that I don't struggle with it. You see, I sign up for something, I feed kama and krodha, then I struggle and then I become very angry with, I have seen many people. They become angry with Bhagavan over time because they are not able to control all this. The reason why they are not able to control all this is the precedence. We don't distance ourselves from these things and we feed ourselves with things which trigger kama and krodha. We try our level best, then we become angry saying it is you who is not allowing to control. Bhagavan is here to support. Bhagavan is here to give the grace, but we can't be fools to actually do things which are adverse to our spiritual journey and then hope that Bhagavan will somehow intervene and do it. And Bhagavan will say, I'll give you more time. That's all. That is his grace. It is our responsibility to understand not to feed kama and krodha. The easiest way not to feed krodha is if you are upset with somebody, please don't gossip about that person with 3 more people. You are feeding krodha. And after 1 month, when you feel this anger erupting in the heart, I created it. And as I keep talking about things which is about other people's dosham, I am putting a ticking time bomb in my heart. And I am signing up for an eruption of anger sometime in future. So here, kama krodhangalai vittiduvai niye means practice. Understand. Bhagavan has given us discretion. Bhagavan has given us intelligence. Bhagavan has given us an intellect. And we have to use the intellect to understand that, ask myself, reflect whether I am going in the right path. Am I signing up to things which are going to be injurious to me in the long run? So that much practice we can do now. Bhagavan has given us the intellect. You can't say, if you are helpless like a dog or a cat or a cow, then Bhagavan does not demand anything from those species because it does not have the power of discrimination. Vivekam is not there. The only Vivekam it has is instinctive. If you put a hot water before it, it will instinctively move away and say, I won't touch hot water. That's all. It doesn't have the human discrimination to choose and to decide and to chart its own path in future. So that is the reason why our responsibility as empowerment is also maximum. Our responsibility in form of being accountable for our actions is also maximum if we are humans. So here, kama krodhangalai vittiduvai niye. So how do I take care of kama? I already told you. How do we take care of krodha? Our Swamiji explains a little more detail in the next verse.
பிறரிடம் கூற்றம் பாராதிருப்பாய் பிறரிடம் கூற்றம் பாராதிருப்பாய் உன் குற்றத்தை பார்க்க மறவாதிருப்பாய் குற்றத்தை பார்க்க மறவாதிருப்பாய் பார்த்திடுவாய்
உலகத்தை பார்த்திடுவாய்
அகண்ட நாம ஸ்மரணம் செய்திடுவாய்
How do we reduce anger? And we have already done in many cities a very contemporary workshop on what is anger, how do we understand anger, and where does anger stem from. We have done that, but I will quickly tell you as a synopsis. Anger comes when you start thinking what that person did is fair or unfair, right or wrong. That is what is called judgment. The moment you start judging things, it may not be even a person, it can be society, it can be an organization. The moment you start judging right or wrong, fair, unfair, guilty, not guilty, that type of a judgment, then what happens is it sows the seed of anger. Now here, instead of looking at what you did is right or wrong, the modern trend supports what Bhagavan tells in Bhagavad Gita, that focus on what you need. Why are you bothered about whether what that organization did is right or wrong? Whether what that person said or did or behaved is right or wrong. Instead of that, find out what do I need and focus on what you need. And once you focus on what you need, we don't need to actually judge somebody. And that is what is said here. Piraridam kutram paradirpai. Kutram nale enna arthona. It doesn't mean that you become a carpet or you become a doormat. What it really means is, instead of looking at what that person did is right or wrong, kutram. Kutramnala, it means judgment. Kutravadi. And Ningal Saidad Kutram. Who says? Only a judge says. Na. So judging whether what somebody did is right or wrong is none of our business. What we did right or wrong is none of our business. It is Bhagavan's job to do that. But we have to run our life intelligently. So let us focus, what do I need? And let spiritual journey, spiritual enhancement, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya also be our need. Then we don't need to look at dosham, darshanam of others. So here, Piradam Kutram Paradirupai. Bhagavan says the highest dharma, the lower dharma is different. Highest dharma, he says, Uddhava Swami, is if you look at the guna dosha, if you start looking at the positives and negatives of people, that is the greatest negative, dosha, defect. If you stop looking at what is positive, what is defective in people, that would be your greatest gunam, or that would be the greatest good for you. And that is in the highest level. Obviously, when it comes to food, you have to say this is good, this is bad, depending on my need. I'm not hating something because it is not fulfilling my need. It's simply I am moving away from that because it doesn't fulfill my need. So here Bhagavan is saying, don't judge, don't label, don't look at guna dosha of people or anything, in the sense that we start thinking about it, and hence we start becoming angry, we get upset, we resent something. We don't need all that. So he's saying, Piraridam kutratai paradirpa. Don't look at the defects of others. And if possible, if required, don't look at even the positives of others. What is the point? Because depending on where we want to be, we have to start being inspired by the right things now. Let me give you an example, just as an example. If you are Jnana, Bhakti, Vairagya, and you look at a YouTube video of somebody who made millions in 1 month and you feel inspired, it means either you calibrate what you really want in life or start calibrating what you see and what you are inspired with. Rather get inspired by the story our Swamiji told today about Lakshmi, whose name was Tukiripati in one of the deep village states in India. She chanted millions of Ram Nam. If that inspires us, we are in the right path. You see, if somebody who does Nitya Bhagavata Parayana says, I wish I was like that, helps us. So be careful what we are inspired by. Be careful what speeds our inspiration, because that's what will actually lead us to our decisions and to our inspirations and to our choices. If we constantly are fed with, they are also inspiration. Artham. When somebody becomes a millionaire, it is an artha purushartham, artham, wealth. And if somebody is pakka dharmatma, every time he touches water, whenever he sits, stands, sneezes, etc., dharma purushartha. And if somebody says, I wanted to go to Hawaii and I've hiked there, man, what I want, I get it. Living the life, abdinna kama purushartha. And when you get inspired by all these, you are creating a conflict. Be clear. If it is artham what we want, let us not become dambacharam. Let us not pause as if it doesn't matter. Let us see the end of it. Face the consequence. Let us learn and go, get out of it. Rather than having mixed feelings and thinking I need that, but then I need to do that, etc. It doesn't work. So be clear. And that is the reason why there is no need for us to see positives and negatives in people. No need to see negatives in anything first. Even positives, only things which can inspire us in the path of spirituality is a safe positive. Otherwise, there is positive when it comes to wealth, there is positive when it comes to determination to do what I want, I will do, etc. And there is positives even in dharma, there is positives in other stuff. You see. So dharma at least is close to our spiritual journey. But kama and artha, I don't think are good inspiration stories for us. Be inspired by dharma and people who have really give up something for something higher. And Jada Bharata, such a luxurious king, he gave up everything for God should inspire us. Rather than other stuff which are success story of somebody who was a very poor fellow, suddenly became a millionaire. It's a good success story if your Purushartha is artham. You see, so be clear as to what you are inspired by. Mind plays tricks. You may say, I'm just taking the efforts of a person who became a millionaire overnight. But then over time, be careful that you just take the efforts and not to the million also along with it. Generally, mind can play tricks on that, you see. And so, Piriram Kutram Paradirupa, I don't look at the defects of others at all. And then he says, for us to improve, our Swamiji even uses the modern language called SWOT analysis. Understand what's your strength, what is your weakness, what are your opportunities, what are your threats in your spiritual journey. Have a clear self-portrait of what my psyche is about, what inspires me, what ticks me on, what ticks me off, what is my strength, what is my weakness, how do I work on my weakness. So, un kutrattai parka maravadiripai. And that's why Tulsidas Goswami says, if somebody else is pointing out my defect, I celebrate because they are giving me an input which I am blind to myself at times. Says Tulsidas Goswami, who is a perfected soul. So when somebody is telling a defect, we can just take it with a pinch of salt. Is there anything truth you can do self-analysis? Why should we bark back at them? And when somebody says that, I don't think what you did is right, you are getting a wonder of Krishna is speaking through them for correction because we are not seeing it. It's a blind spot somebody is pointing out. We can choose to take only, what do I look at it? How do I take something so that I can improve? And that's what it is. So again, I'm telling you, this is nothing to do with if somebody is putting us down publicly, etc. Obviously, we have a worldly life to take care. All that you take care. I don't even have to tell all that in satsang. But what I am telling is how do you discern and understand my own shortcomings so that I can work on them. That's a problem. Many people say, I don't want to get tested. Why? Because what if something is wrong in the test? I'm sorry to use the strong word. You see, when there is a diagnostic test to tell us what is right, what is wrong with us so that we can improve ourselves, if we don't even have the courage to face what we are right now, where is spirituality for all of us? Even when it is a physical health and we are very concerned, what if something adverse comes out? Then it clearly shows the tuni udan maye tunive illa. You see, that we don't have the strength to even look at ourselves, take a hard look at ourselves, so that we can fix what needs fixing inside. If body, which is easy to fix itself, becomes a source of concern for us, what about our mind? You see, and that is the amount of strength which is expected for spiritual growth. And that's why it is said for people who are balahinena na labhyate. Upanishad says if you don't have balahina, chance reject him. Meaning that we have to bolster that strength. And that strength comes from what our Swamiji says, simply praying and chanting will give the strength, you see. But we can't just take our eyes off something because we think, what if I fall short of it? So what? I shall make amends. And Bhagavan has said something in Bhagavata Dharma which gives tremendous assurance. If you go in the path and you don't complete the path, other paths you will continue in the next Janma. But in this path, if you have done your best, Bhagavan says, you have done your best, rest I shall put. Tesham aham samuddarta, mrityu samsara sagara, bhavami nachirat partha, mahi aveshita chetasam. If you are clear, if you are having faith, and if you rely on my grace, even if you fall short by the end of our last day in our life, don't worry. You will come to me alone. You have not completed your journey. He is not talking about Mahabhaktas here. He is talking about normal people, like if I can use the word us. And he says, I will take care. Whatever you fall short, why are you worrying? You did your bit. I will do my bit. You see, that's the beauty of how we actually drop kama, which is desires, lust, etc., and krodha, which is anger. Our Swamiji says, and I have seen personally, our Swamiji does not encourage. I have seen it personally. I have had it personally. He does not want to listen to the defects of other people. He does not even gives his ears to any judgmental statement. He immediately moves off. Impulsively, not as a decision. You can see him turn his face off when people are trying to, show a defect of a person, etc. That is what is divinity. So you need to be gunadosho na ganayan anugrahani ishwam. We are asking Bhagavan, don't look at my gunadosha. Please bless me. But I will look at everybody else's dosha. Does it make sense? And Swamiji, about 25 years back, gave a very wonderful dictum, or can I say a quote to us, saying, once Krishna accepts me as I am and blesses me, who am I not to accept anybody else as a person? You see, Krishna accepts me with all my defects. So what I will do as a small part of it is, I will start accepting. I don't have to agree if the needs are not met. Again, I'm telling you that. But acceptance means I don't judge that person. Acceptance means I don't start gossiping about that person or an organization or whatever it is. That is the beauty of Piraridam Kutram Paradirpai, Un Kutratai Parka Maravadirpai. Ensure that we always have a clear understanding of where I need to work on. And don't worry at all, because we have our Guru, we have our divine name, we have prayers. And that prayer is always powerful, especially if it is a prayer which talks about my own improvements. Bhagavan is so happy that somebody accepting that I need to improve itself is a big step. That's a big step against ego. That's a big step of humility. And Bhagavan would be very happy to bless. And this is 100% true. உலகத்தை
லீலையாய் பார்த்திடுவாய் உலகத்தை அகண்ட நாம ஸ்மரணம் செய்திடுவாய்
அகண்ட நாம ஸ்மரணம் செய்திடுவாய். உலகத்தை ஹரியின் லீலையாய் பார்த்திடுவாய். How do I not be impacted by things happening around me? He says, once you see everything as Hari Leela, then it gives you tremendous protection against judging somebody or judging some entity, etc. Look at Hari Leela. And many times when people take problems to our Sadguru, it says, Krishna romba vilayadranla unkuda avar appadithaan paapar. Some Leela people can bear, some Leela people can't bear. Na? If the child is a very healthy child, na, if you throw the child and catch it, it will bear. If it is a very sony child, and some of us are sony children only. Even before so here our Mahans always see it as Hari Leela, but doesn't mean they won't pray for us. It doesn't mean that they won't strengthen us. It doesn't mean that they won't mitigate the problems, which is a problem for us in the current state now, and that they will do. But we can see things as Hari Leela. And you see, that's how Nagapatni Sri, imagine this, a husband's life is at stake, right? And all the Nagapatnis, Kalinga's life is at stake. Our Nagapatnis knows that if Krishna keeps dancing, na Leela dana, Kalinga Nardana Leela dana. Our husband Kalinga cannot hold any more of Krishna's dance steps. And so they all went say Nyayo Hi Dandam. They say Krishna Kala Nigrahaya, you do all your Leela Avataraya Kala Nigraha. Your avataram is for totally destroying evil in Kala Nigraha. So yet Nyayo, what you did is Nyayam. But please, we are not able to bear this, and we need him. We need him alive. And for our prayers, please bless us, you see. And that is how even the Leela which he is doing with all us, we can still say, Krishna, it's your Leela, but I am not a very fit person to continue this Leela. Kindly mitigate the consequence of all this, because I'm not able to bear it. Is a better prayer. And he says, as we progress with all these, with Trinada Pisunichena, Tarora, Pisaishuna, Amanina, Manadena, Kirtaniya, Sada Harihi, Akanda Namasmaranam Saididava. And then we will realize that we are not distracted. Our mind, our space in the mind is not unnecessarily frittered away for judging others or talking about others or even talking positives of other people. No point in talking about people, because people are transient. Their character is transient. Their qualities are transient. Today somebody will be like that, tomorrow there will be something else. So there is no point talking about people. Rather, you see everything as Hari Leela, and then constantly free up the mental space so that we can do Akanda Nama. You see, I'm sure you would have listened to Swamiji very carefully, that he always uses the word always with Nama. Always, whenever possible, always. Because that's the final goal. Namadhara and Dhyanadhara. So Akanda Namasmarana. So we can constantly hold on to the divine name in our heart, and that Akanda Namasmaranam, our Swamiji says, is Samadhi. It is Bhakti, it is Jnana, it is everything. That's, we are very close to the destination. And then he gives us a little bit of, catch in our journey to watch out for. And he talked about Kama Krodham is all about Rajasam. Now he's going to talk about the Tamas enemies, enemies which are inertial in nature.
உறக்கம் சோம்பல் தவித்திடுவார் உறக்கம் சோம்பல் தவித்திடுவார் தன்னை தானே புகழாதிருப்பார் தன்னை தானே புகழாதிருப்பார்
வீரர் புகழ்ந்தாலும்
இல்லாதிருப்பாய் வீரர் உலக சுகத்தை துச்சம் என்றிருப்பாய்.
After Rajasam, the most important thing is we may get into a lull, which is called layam. At times we get into a lull. Lull itself has its own little tamasic joy. And many people fall during this step, where when they actually go a little bit more, remember this, as we progress in spiritual path, we are progressing for our sake. It is for the sake of our purity. It is for the sake of attaining the purpose, which is prema. It is for the sake of attaining the purpose, which is jnana. And so it is not for others' accolades or recognition. So the moment we think I need to advertise what I am doing to others, we are in big danger. Because then Bhagavan so long has been attending to us, he would say, oh, you did it for the world, he will turn his face off. If he turns his face off, the fame will become more. More people will say, such a great devotee, such a great Bhagavata, Bhakti Paidam. You see, that's why a Mahatma once told a great devotee of his, I shall protect you from a big enemy. And he thought it was lust, etc. He says, I shall protect you from name and fame. Don't worry. So such a genius he is, but the world does not know his genius in spirituality. Why? Because a Mahatma blessed him, I shall protect you from name and fame. So he's progressing steadily without the glare of unnecessary public, fame, name, etc. So here, when people seek name and fame, they have to be pitied upon. We have to show compassion to them, because that's a big diversion. And that's why he's saying, first, as we go in the path, avoid urakam and sombal. Sombal means, we get a little, I think I've done enough, and so we become a little lax. Urakam means we'll say tomorrow, and then we sort of stop it. And ensure that we reduce all that. And tannai thane pugaladiruva, don't beat your own drums. Don't say, I did this, I did that. Mind has its tendency. That's why he's very carefully writing it here. It's a big obstruction to our spiritual progress. Self-praise, saying that I did that, I did this, etc. Directly, indirectly, trickily, politically, all that is not required if you truly want us to progress spiritually. And there is a say that I didn't say, but others are praising, don't stand there. A great Mahatma called Prabodhananda Saraswati says that Nicha Apamanam Sudam, and if people are actually a Sammanam Ati Gora Garalam, Nicha Apamanam Sudam, Sri Radha Muralidharo Bhajasaka Bhajasada Brindavanam Matyaja. So he's saying Sammanam Goram. If somebody is praising publicly and we are there, it's actually a big poison for us. And so when others are praising, don't encourage that. And then he says, Ulaga Sugatai Tucham endrupa. Understand one thing. I had a lovely sweet 5 days back. It is not being sweet now, it's over. Tucham na, it is not true. It is not permanent. It is gone. And now my craving only becomes more when I have that. So now why should I feed the craving? And why should I start thinking about that when actually I can avoid the whole thing and rather focus on something higher? So ulaga sugatai tucham, and tucham means untrue. And tucham means not existent. Ulaga sukam garde, it is like a bubble. It is apparently there, yet not there. So he is saying, be very vairagyam, understanding the true nature of things so that we don't attach to that, understanding impermanence of things, because that should not sort of pull us or make us think about it or do it, is ulaga sugatai tucham. Tucham impermanent, waste. உண்மை சுகத்தில்
நாட்டமாயிருப்பாய், உண்மை சுகத்தில் நாட்டமாயிருப்பாய், பாவலட்சணங்கள் வளர்ந்திடுமா, பாவலட்சணங்கள் வளர்ந்திடுமா. பக்தி சித்திக்குமா, ஏனிப்படி என்று கேள்விகள் கேளாமல், பக்தியே நீ படிகளில் ஏறிடுவாய், பக்தியே நீ படிகளில் ஏறிடுவாய். தட்டு தட்டு மாறி பல முறை விழுந்தாலும், தட்டு தடு மாறி பல முறை விழுந்தாலும், நீ மீண்டும் மீண்டும் முயன்றிடுவாய், பிடிவாதமாய் மீண்டும் மீண்டும் முயன்றிடுவாய். அகண்டானுபூதியில் கலந்திடுவாய், அகண்டானுபூதியில் கலந்திடுவாய். நீயானதிகள் நீராடிடுவாய், ஹரிச்சேத்திரங்களுக்கு
says ulaga sugatai tucham enduvaai. Don't look at the worldly pleasures very transient, and treat it as something which is not permanent. Don't think about it much. Unmai sugatil natama irupai. The real joy is within us. The real joy is Krishnanandam within us. And let us be attached to that. As we progress this way without distraction, only then Bhagavan will slowly wash up all the sins of the past. And then bhava lakshanangal valarndidumam. It's a slow progress. Then we get bhava lakshanas. There are ashta bhava lakshanas. All the 8 are there only for great Mahatmas or divinities like Radharani. For people like us, shedding tears of joy in the memory of Krishna's Kripa, or feeling the horripilation or romanchanam, or choking of the throat, these 3 are more than enough for normal jivas. And these 3 comes slowly. And then prema bhakti siddhikuma. Siddham another. Prema bhakti slowly flowers in our heart. And at that point of time, don't keep asking about why is it happening. The why question has to be dropped, not the technical way, psychological way. All that throw it away. Don't ask don't ask why is it like that, why is it like that. Then your prema will be a problem. So it is like that. Now how do I get out of it? Remember the coffee stain and Jnanananda Swami's episode. And slowly, bhakti anybody. Go up. It is more a blessing for all of us who sang this song. Bhakti anybody. Let us take it as a blessing. Our Swamiji has said, you will all climb the ladder of bhakti anybody. We will slowly be elevated in the ladder by the kripa of our Guru and Bhagavan. Even if we slip down a few rungs, don't give up. Again, meendum, with pidivada. Our Swamiji says the greatest value for spiritual progress is pidivadam. Pidivadam means perseverance, adamancy, that I shall not stop until I attain it. That's why most of these Brahmagyanis were all from Kshatriyas, Rajas, you see, because of their adamancy. They want something, they will do it. They will give up their body for that. They are ready to fight for that. So when the fight becomes internal, it becomes easy because they have the adamancy. Another Brahma Vidya, Raja Vidya, and Pidivadamai Mindum Muyendiduvar. And finally, Akhanda Anubhuti, that infinite experience of Krishna Anubhava, that infinite experience of Brahmanandam. Go, let us become one with it. That is what is the final blessings given by our Swamiji. So right from Prema Bhakti, Siddhi Kumam to Akhanda Anubhuti Il Kalandiduva, it is all blessings that if you follow and cooperate with Guru Krupa a little bit, then this is what is the blessings given by our own Guru Maharaj. And from tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning, we shall start the Ramayana Parayanam. It will be available hopefully in Zoom also. People can also join whenever possible. We'll have enough breaks, one in the morning, lunch break, afternoon break, and also in the evening, so that people don't miss if they want to do all the Parayanam of 24,000 slokas. Ramayanam this is a prayerful Parayanam, so no celebrations and all that. We want to do it as a prayer, and Mahatmas used to do prayers based on Ramayana Parayanam for the well-being of the world. So let us join all the Pustan Namadwar coordinators and family out here. Let us all join to pray for Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda Sadguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare